Hello, everyone. This is Sam Davis. I'm the new executive director at Future Institute. Today, we're going to talk about the future of Future Institute, our plans, and what's really happening at our office. So today we have our dear board president, Dan Green. Dan, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, thanks, Sam. Happy to be here.
Before we talk about the future of Future Institute, I would like to give you the mic and talk about the history of Future Institute. We know that you have been with Future Institute for many years. Can you kind of summarize how did we get to this point?
Sure. So I'm Dan Green. I've been here at Future Institute for at least 6 years, maybe more. I'm currently the president of Future Institute, and we formed this board of directors for Future Institute to try to figure out how can we help our kids. I mean, that's been our goal all along. How do we help our kids after they graduate from high school with their transitions into whatever life they're going to, whether they're going to college, whether they're going to some kind of training or apprenticeship, or whether they're actually going into the workforce. Um, Either way, the transition is often difficult from into adulthood, and that's what we're going to try to help everybody to do better. We've got a number of programs that we formed, and they're including things like mentors programs, um, and futures programs and things like that that really, as I said, help with the transition into wherever our students are going after they graduate high school.
That's awesome. Also, meantime, so I mean, with the programs, if moving forward, so we have 140 college students that graduated from our 12 high schools. They're in our FLI program. So basically, with the program, we provide scholarship to our students, but at the same time, we provide internship opportunities. We provide workshops and mentorship opportunities. So our goal is to prepare our students for college and beyond in their career to get into positions that they feel comfortable and something that they really enjoy doing it and become a better citizen. That's the ultimate goal. And also at the same time, starting this year, we started an alumni relationship with our students. So I mean, we have 12 high schools. So when we look at our first graduating class started in 2003. So now we have almost more than 7,000 graduates. So in our network, and so our students become like 35, 36 years old already. So they're in different fields of life. So the idea is to get connected with our students. If still they need some help, we have resources, we can help them out. If they're already settled and in their career and moving up, so we can get some help from them. We have students in the network, can utilize their expertise, their support. So that's why we started hiring our regional coordinators in our system. So basically, with our coordinators in our different regions, they get connected with our students, organize some events, and see where they're at. And I guess that connection really builds up. And we would like to. I mean, our schools we are in education field, so some of our students are in the education field. So we would like to get connected with those students and just hire them. And we already started. Just recently, one of our students, she graduated from education, so we hired her as a teacher at our school. So this is something really great to see our students coming back and working with the community that they grow up. Then one question about the board. So can you talk about the role of the board? And so now we have some additions. And how do you work with the Future Institute in terms of the board relationships?
Okay, well, maybe I'll start with just a little bit of the evolution of the board. So when we started, we knew that there was an issue, and there was an opportunity to help our students as they did their transitions, but we didn't know how. So when we first started, we weren't a large group of people, but there were a handful of us, and we thought, okay, let's have a board that's an advisory board that comes up with some ideas of things we can do to help the students after they graduate. And some of the things that we came up with, some of it we were just were kind of common sense, things like mentorship and the internships and things like that. But we also did some research where we looked at some of the issues with students, because um, we looked at things like the percentage of students that go to college and then the percentage that actually graduate. And our schools are pretty closely in line with across the country of the percentages that do graduate, but the nationwide percentages are not good. I mean, they're surprisingly low, and we want our concept school graduates to do better than the average student in average schools. So we did some research and just tried to find out where are areas that we could improve. And a significant one was helping with the transition into college. And as you know, many people are going away from home for the first time, and they're certainly living alone or away from home for the first time, or going into a college environment and atmosphere, which is different than anything leading up to that, including high school. In college, they're not there holding your hand to make sure that you do your homework and and you do well on your tests and all that sort of thing. They don't really care. They're like, they just give it to you and they say, here's the learning tools. You have to use them. And a lot of people have issues with that transition. It's a little confusing. And so one of the things that we do through the mentorship is we have other former students, or maybe concept students, and some of them are, and some are just members of the community, that have gone through this and recognize the challenges of transitioning to college and the mindset that you need to succeed in college. And sometimes being able to talk through those problems is just invaluable. It's just so powerful to understand what the issues are that people are having. And it's, I think one thing that's definitely useful is to know that you're not the only one having some of the challenges. I mean, it's common to have challenges when you go to college, and there's a different mindset, and there's things that you didn't do as a youth that you're going to now have to do. And talking to people that have gone through that, it's very helpful. I mean, it could be as simple as figuring out how to schedule your time better, or making sure you go to bed at a certain time, especially for some of the students that are living away from home. There's no one telling them they have to go to bed at a certain time. Well, a lot of times when people go away from home for the first time, they're staying up to crazy hours because they can, and they're like, this is great, but that'll catch up with you. So it's nice to talk to peers of yours that have gone through the same thing, and they'll say, well, yeah, that's fun, but that's not really the best for you to do, things like that. So there's a lot of common sense things, and there's a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't think about, just some of the managing your finances when you're away from home. You have a different responsibility for your finances than when you're living in the house with your family. I mean, that's different. Now there are a lot of students that are actually going to college and they're living at home with their family. Well, that's also a transition. Suddenly your time and your responsibilities and things are a little bit different because you're in college as opposed to being in high school. And that people may not realize that. And that's useful as well to talk to other peers that may have gone through that. So the mentorship program has a lot to offer. Same goes with internships and apprenticeships. Just talking to people that have gone through it really helps quite a bit. and speaking of internships and apprenticeships, I mean, that's part of what we help offer as well, because that is a useful thing, obviously, for people to be involved in that. If we can get an internship for someone, or help someone with that, or help them to be an apprentice somewhere, I mean, that's something that is also very useful. Um, One of the things that you learn in adulthood is that a lot of times networking and knowing people and being connected to different people is very helpful in the next step of your life, the next phase of your life, and helping you figure out what you want to do for a job, or what you want to do with schooling, or whatever. But networking is a very important thing that is not some people it's a natural, but there's a lot of people that it's not natural, and being exposed to that, I think, is very useful for people. So those are some of the programs and some of the things that we do, and we help people along with. I guess I was talking a little bit about the history of the board, and as I said, when we started, we just knew that there were a lot of opportunities to help, and we started to come up with ideas of things that we thought would be useful. Over time, we've formalized our structure a bit, and how we operate, and we've gotten a little bit larger as well. We've added some fundraising aspects to it, and now we're actually expanding to some other cities. We started it all in the Chicagoland area, but now, because Concept Schools covers a number of states in the Midwest, we want to have a presence in all of the different areas where we have schools, because we feel that the best representatives of people in a particular area are people that actually live in that area. So even though the board started very Chicago centric, we're expanding it now, and we're trying to get some representation from the different areas where we actually have schools. We believe that's going to help as far as understanding the needs of those particular areas, as well as it helps with fundraising, because when you're trying to get fundraising in different areas, people don't like to talk to someone from some big city and a couple states away. They want to talk to somebody that's local, and so that actually is somewhat useful. So that's kind of that's a little bit of how we've evolved, I guess.
Thanks so much for all the information. Just one final question. So, I mean, you did this voluntarily. So, last 6, 7 years, we really appreciate that. My question is, what really motivates you? I mean, everybody is busy, so we have our own life, but you designate some time to and mind to kind of help out for this great cause. What really motivates you to be a part of Future Institute?
Well, I guess well, the first part is I don't know, something about the way I'm put together, which I have no idea why I'm put together the way I'm put together. But giving back to the community is important to me. So that's something I probably got from my parents. My father was very big on that, and I always admired it as a kid when I saw that he was giving to the associations. That he was volunteering and helping, and he was actually a pretty significant director in some things in the city of Chicago, and it was impressive, and because he volunteered his time to do that, and when the opportunity came up to help here, I just thought, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So that's I guess how I got involved in the first place, and after I did get more involved and I learned more about what we were doing, I think it's very important. Another thing that motivates me is I think it's very important to help our youth, because that's the future. And I think the important part of all of our legacies is what the next generation and the generation after that are able to do. And so I consider it part of our job to actually help train them. And since I'm not professionally a teacher, and obviously being a teacher is I think, one of the most admirable professions there is, because it's so critical to the future and to helping kids. But since that's not my profession, this is my opportunity to get close to that profession and help direct and help kids and the future, which, as I say, I like to give back to the community. But the other thing that I've realized over years of actually helping and giving back is that when you give back, you actually get something out of it yourself. Giving is actually, it's a two-way street.
Two-way
The more
street.
you give, the better it is for you, it seems to me. I mean, I don't know why, but for some reason, the more I help, the more I feel like it makes me feel good. So, and that's a positive.
Great. Yeah, it's great to have you. Thanks so much for listening to us. So see you next time.